Don't we look foolish? At 0-2, we thought the dynasty was dead. At 1-3, we cheered the downfall. Now at 4-3, we must stir up the conversation once again. Mahomes for MVP, Rice for comeback player of the year. I mean, at that usage yesterday, I figured that to continue, at least at that rate. Andy Reid is the greatest coach of all time. Well, it's a legit question, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But most importantly, who will stop him? Will it be Indiana Jones doing the impossible as he's done all season? Will it be last year's MVP, Josh Allen, and his valiant Buffalo Bills? Could it be Harbaugh? Or could it be the other Harbaugh? Maybe the Red Kingdom can only die when the Eagles fly. I'm Josh Kirby, and this is the Fourth and Forever podcast. That's a W. All right, let's kick it off. Chiefs, Raiders. Let me give you the stats straight up. Rice, 7 receptions, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chiefs decided to get him involved quick and early. A man that was on such a great pace before getting his knee blown out by Mahomes on an accidental tackle. What was it, last season? And then facing the suspension earlier this season. He's finally coming back, and I see they're trying to get him acclimated quick, get him involved in the offense, and he has really showed himself to be a possible legit number one. Mahomes was 26 for 35, 286 yards, and 3 touchdowns. This is the best Mahomes has looked in any stretch in a long time. He looks confident again. Even if I don't think his team is perfect, he looks more confident in his team. He looks more relaxed out there with Rice, and even him and Kelsey are connecting a little better. I don't love the run game, but I do think the young kid Smith will be a valuable piece moving forward, and Pacheco finally got his first touchdown on the season, so good for him. Defense posted up a big old shutout. Nice big old 0 for the Raiders. Even forced Geno to the bench for Kenny Pickett. Chiefs dominated in all angles, though. I mean, listen to this. 42 minutes of time of possession for the Chiefs. Or at least over that. It's like 42-38, something like that. But over 42 minutes, crazy. They had 30 first downs compared to the Raiders' 3 first downs. And the Raiders only posted a total of 95 yards. They had more total return yards at, I think it was like 110. That is impressive. That was just an overall beatdown. We already knew the Raiders were a bad team, so I figured going in, this was going to be hard. Mixed with Max Crosby, it looks like hurt. Who knows how many games he'll be out. Brock Bowers is trying to get to form. Jacoby Myers hurt. Geno's not the answer. Throwing Pickett out there isn't the answer. This is a team that I don't see winning many games moving forward, no matter who they put out there. This is just a poor roster, worse than we probably anticipated. Their run game can't get going because their offensive line is probably the worst in the league. I don't know. Well, we've seen the Titans O-line. That's pretty bad. There's some bad O-lines, but they're definitely up there for competition for that. This overall is just a poor team, and the Chiefs took full advantage of it. But whether it's a bad team or not, I've been saying this sentiment all year. If you're a great team, you beat up on the bad teams, and you make it competitive, and or you beat the good teams. This is what you do. This is what the Chiefs are supposed to do. This is how they are, and this is how they've been operating since Andy Reid and Mahomes have been there together. They go for championships. They go for glory. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it's going to get done. And as a Ravens fan, it hurts. How I'm wearing, got the number 8 back there. This is episode 8, so I figured represent the 8. I got the Flacco jersey to show support after our great Thursday night victory he had. I got the Ravens hat. I mean, we were on bye this weekend, but I was rooting for everything possible for positivity for the Ravens. But this was a game that even if I wanted the Raiders to win, we all knew the Raiders weren't going to win. But by the way the Chiefs won, it showed that they are ready to go on a run. They are ready to take that next jump and really put the AFC on notice, where there are some teams that really need to shape up. The Chargers need to get healthy. The Colts need to prepare. I think the Colts had a really good victory against the Chargers, but they beat a banged-up Chargers. The Chargers still made it competitive at times, and I think as the season progressed, if the Chargers get healthy, the Colts need, I think, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but I think this team has struggled to get battle tested this season. And the best game they've played against a really good team was against probably the Broncos and the Rams. They lose to the Rams and barely beat the Broncos to a boneheaded penalty. Those aspects, it really shows that this team's good, but this team still the Colts team is good, but they still have some gaps. But they have a phenomenal team. But I'll get more into them later. But either way, what team is going to be able to step up and beat the Chiefs? I would love to say the Ravens, but we're still sitting at 1-5. We better go on a serious run if we want to win the division, or even make the playoffs. So we can't even worry about the Chiefs right now. That should be the farthest thing from our mind at the moment. But everyone else that is at the top of the AFC that is really shaping out their playoff picture right now, that's the team you're going through. That's the team that's prime if the Colts drop a few games to win the AFC again. Like I said, we got to see how the Colts perform the rest of the season, but this is serious. This is a seriously good team. And like I said, I feel foolish for going into this season thinking they weren't going to win this division, thinking they will be a wild card in this. They might get bumped early, or if they win a wild card game, they won't make it to the championship. It was poor speculation on my part. Being such a Ravens fan, being so supportive of my team, my bias took over, and I was overlooking the Chiefs, which time and time again, we've all realized that is a mistake. Now, my picks for last week, I went 4-5. Started off with a great Thursday night football game for my first pick. I had the Bengals beating the Pittsburgh Steelers in a phenomenal game for Joe Flacco. 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards, and had Jamar Chase out here looking like the best receiver in football, which he's at times has been. I think Puka, and Jefferson have been really competing this season to see who's the best. But I think Jamar Chase has taken a nice lead after Puka going down and him getting a good primetime showing. But I don't want to act like this was game-changing ties for the Bengals. It gives some hope. It gives game plans for the future. But Joe Flacco still is an older quarterback. This offensive line still is not great. The run game got going against the Steelers, but that was the first game they've got going all season. And this defense may have played their best game, but this is not a great defense either. As for the Steelers, I think their defense had one of their weakest, flattest showing. I think they went in maybe a little overconfident against this team and really got punched in the mouth. And that offense, even though they had a few mistakes, overall, I don't think the Steelers' offense was bad. Rodgers has been playing very well this season. He definitely is far from the washed mantra I was giving him, but he's not nowhere near that MVP status Rodgers he was. I think he's closer to washed than MVP, but he's not washed yet. And he's definitely, if this Steelers team can definitely win games, but this is a huge blow to them. Bengals are only a game behind now in the division, and this really sets up when the Ravens play them 2 more times this season to really turn the tides if the Ravens can really get it going. So, great for that pick. Next, we can go to the London game. Early in the morning, I wake up. I had the Jags winning this. I feel like the Jags, Lawrence is 4-3 in London. The Jags have dominated a lot of those games. They have a great turnover-heavy defense, and they have a special player that I think finally has proven himself. He is a receiver. I think defensive snaps are nice, but he's a receiver. 100 yards, touchdown. Travis Hunter that's what he is, and that's what he should be for this offense. And they got to stop doing him with these stupid gadget plays. He runs routes very well. Better route runner than I predicted. I think he's a lot more acclimated to the offense, faster than I think some of us predicted. I thought he would be a better corner. He clearly is a better receiver. Throw him in the slot and let him go. As for the Rams, Stafford threw 5 touchdowns. Amazing by the Rams. Great performance. That defense was playing very hard, very heavy. Shout out to last year's Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse. I was high on Verse. He's playing phenomenal, but also Young, number 0 for them. He looked incredible as well. I think this team definitely could still use some help in the secondary, but overall this defense plays hard enough and has enough guys up front to really make impactful plays. And I think the Jags once again shot themselves in the foot, but it's hard even without that to beat Stafford when he's throwing for 5 touchdowns. So I think I should have probably taken the Rams in that, but I guess based on history, I thought the Jags would be able to pull it out, and the back end of the Rams was not as much of a liability as it probably should have been. But my next pick, I had the Patriots over the Titans. Rabel coming in for his revenge game, whether he felt that way or not. I felt it was going to happen. Titans got off to an early jump, but Drake May, he completed the game with the single best completion percentage by any Patriots quarterback in history. It was like 91.2 or 91.3, something like that. Right? Brady's best was only a 88. He's playing like a top 10 quarterback. I think by the end of this season, if they make the playoffs, you could consider him a top 5 quarterback. He's got the best deep ball in the game right now, and the Titans team isn't good, and they're full of bad teams. But this is like I said about the Chiefs. If you're a good to great team, you need to be able to beat up on the bad teams, and they did. They were really able to showcase the flaws of the Titans team. They have a bad O-line. They have a heavy quarterback. Cam Ward's turned over the ball once every game this season. That's coaching there. I mean, that's bad decision making by him on his part too. But that's a lot of coaching. You need to coach that stuff out of a young quarterback. He's making a lot of very poor decisions and bad plays. Some plays where he's trying to make a play that isn't there, and others he just looks lost. I think this coaching staff, I think it does a disservice sometimes firing a head coach in the middle of the season when you have a rookie quarterback. They probably should have rode the season out, and then as the offseason let him go and then proceed to find the new coach. Now they got an interim coach who's never done, and if he hasn't done this in a long time. I know Mike McCoy's been around the league. I'm not sure if he's ever been a head coach. I can't quite remember, but I definitely know he's been around this league enough where he's seen a lot. But it's hard. It's a lot to put on someone in the middle of a season. I mean, you're about to be halfway through the season, and it feels like you're almost starting over. It's a terrible matchup for the Titans team, and it's a rough season they got ahead. Like I said, luckily for them, they can hang their hat on getting a high draft pick next year, which will really help this team hopefully going forward if you want to salvage anything about Cam Ward coming from this season. But like I said, for the Patriots, they've done everything they needed to do. It's been an incredible performance by them. I think my expectations for them going into the season was right, and I feel a little shame that I even started backtracking a little bit. I should have been more firm on it. I believed in them going into the season, and I should continue believing in them because they have done nothing but prove to me that they are worth believing in. Next, I want to talk about the Packers, Arizona. I had the Packers beating the Cardinals. Cardinals made it a game. So before I get to the Cardinals, I have a nice little take about them. Let's talk about the Packers, the team that I picked to go to the NFC Championship game, win it, and go to the Super Bowl. Josh Jacobs was supposed to be was ill and dealing with a calf injury all week. He ended up coming in playing a really good game, being a very good contributing factor to the team. The receivers, you got a plentiful of receivers. Dobbs looks like he has the best connection with Love, but overall plentiful. But you don't have that elite one, and I think that is a problem. Tucker a good tight end. I don't know if he's top 5, but he's really good. Top 6, top 7. You have a good line. Parsons had his best game, his first 3-sack season, or I'm sorry, 3-sack game of his career. Incredible. But overall, this team makes it close too often, and they're really showing that they're beating the bad teams, but it's like the bad teams are competing with them, and that is a problem. Because I don't know how it's going to look when they're facing the Titans, not the actual Titans, but the big teams, the mounting factors of the NFC, the teams that have put themselves on that different pedestal, such as when the Lions defense gets healthy, the Lions, such as the Eagles, who proved once again they know how to win. You play a team, you're going to play the Vikings. You're going to have to play that team with that defense, and you have to have a plan for that. You have to have a plan to compete. Niners are proven. I'm going to talk about them later, but they've proven they are a top team in the NFC, and they deserve a lot more respect than I think they've been given, especially more respect than I've been giving them, clearly. But this is a team that really needs to get their stuff together, because if they can't start having Love look like an MVP, if they can't start really turning out really good, dominant wins, then I'm really scared for this team making the playoffs, and they're just going to look like the same team that has made the playoffs the last 2 years, where they go in, maybe they'll win the first game, maybe they won't, but you have no hope of them going beyond that. So, but as for the Arizona Cardinals, this is a roster that needs still a lot of pieces, but they have a lot of good pieces as well. The roster actually looks more efficient now that Jacoby Brissett has taken over. I think I said this before, and I think the sentiment I've agreed with. I think the ship has been rowed with Kyler, and it's over. I think as an organization, they should wait they probably would want to wait until the end of the season to move on from Kyler, have it be more of a mutual thing, trade him to a team that would really value him. But if I was them, if I was Kyler, I'd be like, move me in the middle of the season. Let me go to my new team. Let me get acclimated there. Let me just jump right into it and see where the season goes. Because there are some teams out there that I think would give up a lot for Kyler Murray. Teams like maybe you do a Kyler trade and have Kyler go play for the Dolphins. I could see them thinking about it. What about the Raiders? Clearly Geno's not working there, and Cardinals are already paying Kyler. Do a QB swap or just straight up bring Kyler in. The Jets. Fields is not the answer. Tyrod Taylor, I like him being that we did draft him. He was our Joe's backup. I remember him playing for the Bills. It was what happened to him in the Chargers really sucked. And then he's really trying to get his footing, but he's not the future. We all know he's not the future. That's a team that would be interested, but there are teams that I think would be really interested in Kyler because I think he's got a lot of upside, as in his athleticism, and he does have a really big, strong arm. His commitment levels have been at question. His decision making has been back and forth, and I think he's just kind of done being there, and I think they're kind of done with him. And it's not a bad thing. I think it's just sometimes it's like they say all marriages end. 50% of marriages end in divorce. Some sort of stat like that, or whether that's still true to this day, who knows? But not everything's always going to work out. And a quarterback to a coach or quarterback to a team, that is a marriage. You go in there to commit long term, and sometimes that long term commitment doesn't work out. Sometimes you see another option and you want to go take that option on, or sometimes it's just there's a lot of infighting and there's a lot of you don't feel everyone's being as serious and putting in as much effort, and you want to go separate ways. That's what I see with this team. This is a team that is at a crossroads. Well, whether they're going to keep going down this self-destructive path of trying to make it work when it doesn't, or are they going to split it, leave both parties better, and hopefully give the Cardinals an opportunity to see what Jonathan Gannon can really do, and giving Kyler the opportunity to really prove that he is a great quarterback, and that maybe this just was not the system for him. But that's for that. Then the Colts and Chargers were my last pick. Like I said, 4 for 5. I was running it this week. Felt very confident about a lot of my picks. Actually, I felt confident about all of them. Screw you, Jags. So, but Colts Chargers. Colts are a serious team. They're 5-1. They're a serious team. Daniel Jones is playing really good football, and Jonathan Taylor's been playing like the offensive player of the year. If he keeps at this pace, the award's his, and he should be an MVP conversation. He is the best player on that team, and most weeks he's been the best player on the field. It's insane. It's not even like for lack of love for them, but I don't have as much to say about the Colts. I think they're a team that is playing at a high level, is playing very well. I would like to see them throughout the season maintain this success. They're 5-1 now, but that's still so early. You got to maintain the success all the way into the playoffs. But I really would like to see how they compete against the other teams making the playoffs. This is a matchup you very well could see at the end of the season, whether the Colts win their division and the Chargers come in as a wild card, or the Chargers win their division and they meet up in the divisional round. Either way, these are two teams that were very likely could play again. And if the Chargers are healthy, when they made the game competitive at times, they do have the better quarterback, and the Chargers could take over the game because I do believe they have the better quarterback and coach. And if they were all healthy, they probably win that game. But that's not to discredit the Colts. Colts are a phenomenal team, and they deserve all the respect they're getting. It's just I think everyone as fans need to see a little more. They need to see what they're going to look like against the Chiefs, the Bills, the healthy Ravens, the Steelers, like all these other teams that they're probably going to meet near the end of the season. How are you going to stack up again? The Patriots, how are you going to stack up against them? I'm not saying that has yet to be seen, because I've seen them compete with some good teams, but they've also had their worst games against these good teams, and a lot of these games have come down to close victories. And it's just, like I said, some of these teams aren't even 100% healthy. So let's see how this season progresses. And like I said, for the Chargers, they need to get healthy. For me to take them seriously, for this team to be competitive, I need them to get healthy so I can really gauge them. Because I think they're a phenomenal team and they have a really good roster. But when it's a banged up roster, you don't know where the future lies. So I really want to see this team get healthy, and then we'll go from there with them. Next, I want to give respect to the San Francisco 49ers. Mac Jones played great. Lucas on defense really stepped up. The Niners coaching staff has to be a top two, maybe the best coaching staff in the league. Being without their defensive leader in Fred Warner, without probably their best defensive player on the line in Nick Bosa. This defense was playing with so much heart, and Robert Saleh deserves so much credit for that. As in for the offense, playing with your backup quarterback, playing with backup receivers, you're feeding it through Christian McCaffrey, which is a genius idea, but him being able to handle that workload is props to him. And Mac Jones not getting flustered and not reverting into a backup quarterback, really playing like a potential starter that could really earn himself a job next year. He deserves so much respect. This is a team that is going to be in contention, I think, near the end of the season, and I'm curious to see what happens when Purdy comes back. And they said it is day to day, so we might get some more Mac Jones, and right now, I'm loving it. I guess next I want to talk about the Eagles and the Vikings. The Vikings have a very, very talented roster. We see it. I like their weapons. I like their offensive line. It's inconsistent, but as it gets healthier, it will get better. And that defense is playing lights out with Brian Flores as the coach. But inconsistency at quarterback is the problem. And the thing is, I don't know if JJ is better than Wentz, but I know Wentz isn't going to be good enough to carry this team to the playoffs. I think it would be a good enough team to have them compete up until the end of the season, but this could be a 9-win team that misses the playoffs. As in, when JJ in there, I still think they're a 6-7 win team with JJ McCarthy, because I think just overall experience levels, it's going to drop you off a few of those wins. But really, this game was all about the Eagles. They let Jalen Hurts air it out. They got their receivers involved. And this, once again, the Eagles have proved they can win. Whether it's pushing their way to the finish, whether it's running it or dumping it off to Saquon, airing it out to their receivers, relying on their defense, relying on their quarterback's legs. However they need to do it, they can win. This is why this is a team that near the end of the year is going to be one of the most dangerous teams, because when they make the playoffs, they don't have to play one way. It's like the Chiefs. They really are. So why them and the Chiefs have been two of the best teams in the NFL for the last couple of years, because they have proven they don't have their formula isn't set in stone. They have a way they would like to win, but they have multiple ways they can win. And that is the most impressive thing about the Eagles. I mean, you give a lot of props to both coordinators, which aren't perfect at times, but really can get the most out of their players, and to Sirianni, who just motivates the hell out of this team. This is just a team that is just motivated by championships and greatness, that they're not always worried about how it looks. They're just worried about the end result, and that is a status of greatness, and that is what makes a champion. So this is a team that I picked to win or at least to get the number 1 seed in the NFC, and I still very much believe that they are on that path. So let's see how the rest of the season goes. But these two teams, they showed a lot of who they are. A lot of good, a lot of bad, but once again, Eagles win. Crazy. But right before, I got 2 more games I want to talk about. First is going to be that Broncos-Giants game. Phenomenal. Jackson Dart looks great. That defense for the Broncos was really coming at him, but Dart was responding well. The Giants defense underperformed in the fourth quarter, letting up 33 points in the fourth quarter alone. That is just ridiculous. You can't do that. As a defense, that proves that your secondary really is so much of a liability. You have such a great defensive line, but that back end really hurts this team. And I like I said, it does not disrespect to the Broncos or Bo Nix, but I don't see Bo Nix as an elite, proficient, top tier quarterback. I think he's very consistent. I think at times when he's being consistent, and he's a little streaky, I would say. When he's being more consistent and he's in rhythm, he looks really good. But when he's off rhythm and not playing as well, he looks terrible. This is a quarterback that has a lot of, highs and lows, but I think you have the ceiling of his highs, and luckily you know the floor of his lows. You kind of can gauge what he's going to give you each week. I think the Broncos have the perfect coach for them. I think they have the perfect quarterback for their coach, and Bo should be very lucky with the coach he has, and this defense is playing as one of the top tier defenses in the league once again. The Giants, I think, are a team that has got a lot of hope long term. They need to improve that secondary. Like I said, this coming into the season, this is a team that can win 7 games, putting in Jackson Dart, and it looks like they are on that trajectory, in my opinion. Next season is when this team can get more serious. They add some pieces to that secondary. They get Malik Neighbors back. They now have a really good 1-2 punch at running back. I like Tyrone Tracy had a really good rush in this game. Him and Scotabo are going to be a really good 1-2 combo. You have a motivated team. The one thing I'll say about this team, they got a lot of juice to them. Both of these teams do. Both these teams rely and rally around their quarterbacks. They rally around the staff. They're finally buying into what is being sold to them, and I think that's something that the Giants didn't have with Russ, but now have with Dart, and that's something the Broncos really gained with Bo, and that has been the difference maker for both these teams. These are two teams that really could be really good for the next couple of years if the organizations can really put the pieces together here. Broncos, I still think I want to see them compete where they're going to be near the end of the season. I think they could be a playoff team, but I also think, like I said, if they miss a playoff at 10-7, that could happen. While on the other side, I don't see the Giants making the playoffs, but next year, they're a team that I would definitely have favored at the top of their division, especially with who knows where the Commanders are going to go, or the Cowboys, which I'm about to talk about now. Actually, let's just get into it. Cowboys-Commanders. This game was more about the Cowboys and the Commanders. Even though I think we all know what the Cowboys are. Cowboys are a team with a playoff offense. This is an offense that is going to dominate regular season games. Now that CeeDee's back, they have two true top-tier receivers. They have a really good, solid gadget guys underneath them. This run game is not top of the league, but it's very efficient. Line holds up well, and Dak is playing like an MVP. He's playing phenomenal. I'm loving what I'm seeing. His stats are good, but the eye test is phenomenal. Each week he's going out there, he's putting this team on his back, and he's delivering the ball when it needs to, especially for a defense that is probably going to let them down by the end of this season. Their defense playing really hard. You can see the fight, but there's just the lack of talent, the lack of... They need more. I think it's a team that can make the playoffs and lose a playoff game because of this defense. But this offense will drag this team to the playoffs, especially now looking at the Commanders, where I thought this team could be a 12-win team. Jaden Daniels is hurt again. This would be his third injury in 2 years. He had a knee last year, he had a knee this year, and he has a knee again. He doesn't protect himself well. He gets hit a lot. I said going into this season that I didn't like what they did with their offensive line, and it's proved that is a weakness for this team. I didn't like what they did on the defense, and that has proven to be a weakness of this team. And I didn't like that they only went out to get Debo, and they didn't really bolster up the weapons around Jaden Daniels, because this is the time you bolster up your young franchise quarterback. Your team will be the cheapest it is right now. Your team will not be any cheaper than it is right now. When you have to pay Jaden Daniels, when you have to pay some of these guys you're drafting, that's when the team gets expensive. That is when it's hard to keep this unit together. Terry's not getting any younger. Debo's not getting any younger. And you have a running back carousel back there, which makes you look foolish because you don't know who's really going to be the game breaker, and you don't really have one. Marcus Mariota is a serviceable backup, but he's a backup for a reason. This guy's not going to carry you to the playoffs. As of right now, if Jaden Daniels has to miss 3 to 4 games, I kiss the Washington Commanders' playoff hopes goodbye. I don't think they have the unit. I don't think they have the team. I don't think they have the ability to overcome the deficit of losing their franchise quarterback, at least for a couple games or for the whole season. I'm a big believer in Jaden Daniels, but he needs to bulk up. He needs to take some lessons from a guy like Russell Wilson, who, even though he's flamed out near the end of his career, the best skill he had was he could scramble and he didn't take hits. That's why he's still playing to this day. Whether he's good or not, he didn't take a lot of hits. So his athleticism just faded over time, but it wasn't because of injuries. Lamar, I think, does a lot better about not taking as many hits. He'll go down a little quicker. I mean, he does that weird dive thing. I'd rather him slide more than dive. A little more risky. But either way, he goes down. And that's what you need. That's what he needs to learn. He needs to be a little more careful in the pocket. Watch the protection. You know you have a shaky offensive line. They have to instruct him, coach him up about protection a little better, because he's getting hit at times when he doesn't need to get hit. This is a team that is really hurting themselves at the end by the end of it. And if they go and drop 3 of their next 4 games, depending on how serious Jaden's injury is, and even if it's not serious, they've already shown that they're going to put his health in front of the team, which is what all teams should do for the franchise quarterback. But it proves that if he's they would probably keep him out the next game or two, depending, even if the injury is not as serious, because they've kept him out for a game or two when the injuries hasn't been super serious before, because they don't want to lose him long term, because he is their long term answer. But the best ability is availability. Look at the Bengals. The Bengals season is holding on to the hope of a 40-year-old Joe Flacco to will them up a couple wins because their quarterback can't stay healthy. It's the same thing around the league. Is if your quarterback can't stay healthy, you're holding on hope that whatever's next can just keep you alive. I mean, look at the Ravens. Yeah, we only lost Lamar for 2 games, but we're 1-5. You tell me that you don't think with us averaging 30 points a game with Lamar that we couldn't have beat the Rams if Lamar was out there? We'd be 2-4. That's a lot easier to believe in 2-4 than 1-5. But when your quarterback gets hurt, it puts a lot of questions, and that there's a lot of quick answers. Luckily, Lamar's coming back after the bye, and we can kind of put some of those to rest. But for Jaden, this is already his second injury this season. What is next? What can the Commanders do to help protect their quarterback, protect their franchise? That is draft top offensive lineman. That is sign top offensive line. That is not go and sign veteran players past their prime. It's bringing in proven young talent, because that's what you need. You need young, athletic, sturdy talent to keep your quarterback upright and to better this defense so it's not all on him. Cowboys can make the playoffs. Commanders may squeak out of the playoffs. In a couple weeks, I'm probably going to update my playoff bracket and give a new prediction. So look on that. Speaking of potential predictions and for the season, I want to end this podcast talking about my potential MVPs for the season. I have a nice top 5. What is it? Monday, the 20th, after Sunday is when I'm recording this. I wanted to drop this right now. Monday Night Football hasn't happened yet. Hopefully, I'm assuming Baker's going to play really well and the Bucs are going to beat the Lions. Let's see how this ages. I'll talk about that and drop a video for that afterwards. But as of right now, my top MVPs for the season. At number 5, I have Daniel Jones. He's been playing phenomenal for Indy. He came in, people laughed when the Colts decided to choose him over Anthony Richardson as a starting quarterback. And all he's done is prove that the Giants didn't know how to utilize his strengths, and he is coming in as a new man. Daniel Jones has put up good numbers. He's led this team very well. And I have to say, he's looked like one of the better players, one of the best players on the Colts. The best player on the Colts is ahead of him on this list, but we'll get to him in a moment. Number 4, Mahomes. I don't want to give him too high because I think he's really only played well the last few games, and he's coming into his own. But this is more trajectory where I think he could move up this list fast, and throughout the season, he's really going to show why he's the best player. I mean, I said he was the MVP for that team from the beginning. He's always, even though his numbers didn't look it, he was playing really well, and now he's doing a great job. And I think moving forward, he's got a chance to really compete for that MVP title. Next, I got Dak at 3. Dak is, like I said, his eye test stats, everything's lining up for him. He's playing phenomenal. This team is going to go through Dak. If Dak plays well, this team can go to the playoffs. If Dak doesn't play well, they are going to miss the playoffs. So this is Dak's team, and wherever he goes is where this team's going to go. And then his defense is going to kill him in the playoffs. But there we go. Number 2, Jonathan Taylor. He's been the best player for the Colts. He's probably Offensive Player of the Year, and he's been playing like an MVP. This team is running it with him. He's scoring touchdowns. He's making big plays, and he's putting so much energy into that Colts team that they are 5-1, and he's a big reason because of it. So I got Jonathan Taylor at number 2, well-deserved. But number 1 is the big show, Baker Mayfield. He's been playing the best football of any quarterback this season. His stats look great. He's doing it with all of his receivers dropping like flies. His running backs getting hurt. He's proven all the doubters wrong. He's doing a phenomenal job. So, Baker Mayfield, you are definitely deserving of not only the MVP title, but to walk around like you do. And that'll do it for episode 8. That was That was a lot of fun. I've been love doing this all year. Week 7 was great. I'm excited for week 8. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and always thank you.